today we welcome back Michael Lane from Samsung.
Michael Lane, so good to see you again.
Hey, thank you, Neil. Appreciate you having me on, and happy New Year to you, and glad to see you as well.
At the Galaxy Unpacked event just a couple of weeks ago, I think a lot of the action around the S25 launch was the improved use of AI. Can you lead by telling us about that, please?
Yeah, thanks. And it's interesting. There have been tons of leaps and bounds of technology, and anyone that followed CES or read through the releases, they'll see that not only was there huge technological advances, but everyone is speaking to the advancement of AI. And at Samsung, especially, that was very much a highlight of a lot of our technologies that we're releasing this year. And
Okay.
at CES this year, we made it very clear with AI taking center stage with a whole host of products and services that we'll be offering both with the S25 as well as going forward. So you could easily say we're in the middle of a huge AI revolution and we're completely surrounded about it. And so, from my opinion, I think it's in our best interest to learn everything we can about AI so that we can explain it to our customers, our friends, our families, and everything that we sell that involves AI embedded products, so they really understand what it means to them. And so, if we take an initial step back and think about AI, we're already completely surrounded by AI. Most of us may not even realize how much of our world is involved in our daily lives with AI. And when I think about it, a few examples include, when you scroll on social media and you see an ad for something that was just being spoke about or in another ad, that's AI driving that. When you're
Yeah.
on the phone chatting with an automated support agent, wishing that you had a real person to speak to, that's AI.
Yes.
When I go into my Gmail inbox and I see that it's highlighting and prioritizing certain emails for me, that is AI. When my Verizon enabled Galaxy S25 phone rings and there's an alert that pops up as a potential spam risk, that is AI. When I hail a ride share and the ride share app shows me how many minutes it'll be before my ride shows up and the optimal route to my destination, that's
Yeah.
being driven by AI.
Yeah.
When I ask my Google Home or my SmartThings Hub to perform certain tasks and do certain things, that's AI. So really everything that I do, even as simple as typing on the keyboard on my phone and it prompts me for certain words and suggestions, that's even AI. So AI is here. We're using it day in, day out. We just haven't thought about it in that way. So if I peel back AI even further than that, what is AI? At the core of it, what is it when you hear the word AI, and what should we think about with those discussions? AI is really nothing more than a platform with software, and that software is used to gather the information we give it to,
Mhm.
solve problems, provide information, predict our next word while we're typing, and even create things that we ask it to dream up. So the more information we give AI and the various AI platforms, the better it'll be at doing those things. And so that's why right now, that's why I still think we're at the forefront of AI innovations.
Okay.
And Samsung is one of those AI innovators. And with our partnership with Google, think Gemini, Samsung is leading that from an AI perspective. And so in 2025, mobile devices like the Galaxy S25 and more devices to come are developing more human-like qualities. And why I say human-like, because if you think about our own lives, if you were to ask me a specific question or ask me for a reference to something or my opinion on something, I base it upon data I've gathered throughout my life, whether
Hmm.
that's capturing something that I've seen, something that I've heard, something that I've read, and I produce an answer for you or a suggestion for you based upon that human like emotion and reaction. And really, that's what we're doing with AI in Samsung. We're trying to make that query and response more human like to improve and enhance our end users. And we're making it more conversational, like what we're doing now back and forth. Because really, as humans, that's the easiest way for us to interact.
Hmm.
And why is that important? And especially why in the business setting is something like that is important. Well, if you think about when you're driving down the road, Most states now have hands-free driving laws and things that you're not allowed to touch or interact with. Well, if I can use my phone to ask it to answer a call, read me a message, do a certain task, I'm now still engaging but being safe.
Yes.
If I'm on the roof as a roofer and I need to ask for information about how to do something and my phone's deep in my pocket, yet I have my Galaxy buds on, I can get that information by simply ask my phone to either conduct that transaction or find information about it. Say I'm a nurse at a hospital or a care facility and I'm working with a child and I know that playing some soothing music might be something of interest. Well, I can ask my phone to play that music and continue working with that child. Again, human-like interactions, human ways of interacting with our hardware. So
Hmm.
what the S25 brings to the marketplace is not only the next generation of AI, but how you will interact with that actual handset to make it more human-like. So if you allow me to present a few things here going forward, I'll really get a little bit deeper into this conversation. But really, that is our goal for AI.
Fantastic. Yes, please, Michael. Please do.
So at Samsung, when we think about AI and some priorities as it relates for especially our business customers, how are we helping businesses either do more with less or be more effective? There are really three pillars that we look at, and it's really capstoned on the far right with this AI SDK or software developers kit.
Hmm.
One of the things we want to do at Samsung is not force our customers to only use the AI products we bring to the marketplace or install on the phones. We are going to be opening up our AI capabilities. So if they have a custom application, they have a custom solution, they want to integrate a specific feature into something that they use, we're going to provide them that capability so they can use AI in the way that they want to use AI, not the way that we tell them to use AI.
Hmm.
From a human-like perspective, we're going to talk about breaking down communications and some enhancements we've had there. The seamless action across apps, which is the really cool thing that came out the AI 25 S25. Yes, we'll talk a little bit about hardware because AI, if you think about data centers and computers and platforms, you need to have the horsepower to run these AI applications and solutions. And most importantly, which is on the bottom row here, is the security and providing our end customers the ability to decide again what features of AI they want to use and which ones they don't, based upon their level of trust and security, based upon maybe the vertical that they work in or the types of employees that they have. So again, putting the power into the control of our end customers. So human-like AI, where do we start here? So there's three great areas I want to speak about really quick. The first one is that seamless actions across apps and the way that we've really integrated now AI with applications on the device. The now brief, which away again is how do we train our devices to provide you the information when you want so it's applicable and timely and important, and some things we've done to do to again break down more levels of communication. So when I talk about seamless cross-action apps, if you think about, we just had the Super Bowl this past Sunday. So in previous years, I may have had to go into a Google search, type in, when is the Super Bowl, get that answer, go to a link, find maybe a calendar that I could hyperlink back to my phone or, manually type it in. Versus this year, I simply asked my phone, said, "Hey, Google, when is this year's Super Bowl? And please put it in my calendar." And without doing any other steps, my phone simply went out, gathered that information, was able to look at where I was based out of, which is Mountain Time Zone, versus where the game is actually at, and put it into my calendar at exactly that time, which was 4:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, without me having to do anything. So if you think about the ability now to not just take AI to use it on one applications, but have it go across multiple native applications on the device, or even applications like Spotify, WhatsApp, etc., we're expanding that AI capability to be across multiple apps, which is really how most people live their lives. Email, contacts, calendar, etc. So same thing. If I wanted to text you, I don't have to launch now my text messaging app first, open up the keyboard, etc. I can simply ask my phone to send you a text message and put in what that content is. I review it and then it sends for me. So again, making these multimodal AI steps, excuse me, to simplify our lives and make them that much more efficient. And that's really what we've leveraged with our cross actions. Now, the meeting brief or the daily brief is something new. And again, when I discussed about, AI is really about the content that we feed it, provides the output that we're able to use. And so if you're anything like me, the first thing I do when I start my day, well, maybe second thing, first thing is get a cup of coffee, but typically has been look at my calendar for the day. What meetings do I have? What calls do I need to worry about? If I'm driving anywhere, etc. Well, now my morning brief using the Now Brief app takes all that consolidated information, shares with me exactly what's going on with my day, lets me know if I do have somewhere I need to drive to, then I can have it auto launch, say Google Maps, so I know exactly when to leave to get there on time, etc. And the cool thing is, it also integrates with Samsung Health. So maybe at the end of the day, I want my Galaxy Watch to let the Now Brief know how high was my blood pressure today? Did I have enough steps? Maybe suggest for me a way I can relax and maybe do some meditation, some deep breaths, maybe some applications to help me with my health and fitness. And again, it's based upon the information I am putting in my device, and it's outputting for me a way to have a better life and simplifying my life. So the Now Brief will grow with users the more they use it and become more effective in what they do day in, day out. So when we first launched the Galaxy S24 last year, that's really when we launched AI. And one of probably the most used components was the communication component, whether that was live translate on a call, call transcript, AI summary, basically taking verbal and written information and being able to transcribe it to other languages, simplify it, summarize it, and use it in a certain way that you want to. So, two things from a language perspective that we've done: we've increased the number of languages supported from 16 to 20. And that communication, that live translate component, is now available in 49 countries across the globe versus 35. So, we continue to expand our capabilities and where it can be used. In the middle, what you're seeing here is the latest feature, which is native call recording on the device. So if I were having a phone call with a client or anyone realistically, I can now have my phone automatically record the call. And for safety purposes, we obviously always want to allow the other user to know that that's going to occur. And actually, there's an audible alert that says this call is being recorded. So this is never being done in secret. But then the cool thing is, once you have that call recorded, you can convert that audio file to a text file. You can convert that text file into a transcript. You can have AI summarize it, and then you can send that out in an email. And all this AI functionality is being done right on the device, right in a safe and secure location. So we've always had a great way of communicating and translating. Now we can do the same thing with audio recorded phone calls right on a Galaxy S25 device. And so think about the power of that. Again, if you're a business owner and you want to record calls with prospective clients and send them, feedback and information and basically a meeting summary without having to take a lot of notes, let the phone take the audio notes for you. And from there, let AI on the device do its magic and send it out. So a little bit about performance. I'm not going to do a deep dive about the S25, but really what I want to hit upon is the processor.
Yeah.
Every year we always have enhancements of like the CPU and the GPU because that makes the devices faster, games feel quicker, etc. But what you're seeing there is the NPU. And what the NPU is the neural processor that allows AI to work. And you have to continually enhance that NPU unit to allow it to really crunch all that AI data and get you output real time and accurate. And so the biggest enhancement on this device is really that NPU at a 40% increase from the previous year's processor. And that's really what we need to do to continue to enhance AI capabilities on mobile devices, is make sure that NPU device is further enhanced. Now, there's some other great examples on this slide as well. Use an AI scaler for better processing of images. The selfie cam on the front of the device is going to use an AI selfie camera to enhance pictures, allow you to take pictures. But those processes are all great, but it's that enhancement of the NPU that brings it to life and makes it viable for our customers. So security. Security is always first and foremost at Samsung in everything that we do. And, Knox has been around, geez, since 2013, 2014. And
Yes.
we've really expanded upon what that means. And, Knox, in terms of the hardware in our devices, is built into every single device. There's nothing to download. There's no, buy up options our customers need to leverage. It's built into our device. It's how do we turn that Knox Vault and that security capability into something that's viable for our customers? And so what we've released now with the S25 is the ability now for end users, they do have to use an MDM. So whether it's say Samsung Knox, Avanti, any of the major MDM players out there that can manage a Samsung device, with the launch of the S24, um, Galaxy AI was either on or off. It's like light switch. Either you had it all or you had none at all. And so listening to feedback from our customers, they said, well, maybe I really want to allow my end users to use Live Interpreter because we have a lot of customers where English isn't their first language. And so
Right.
I want my employees to do text assist, call assist, chat assist in a foreign language. But you know what? I'm really not comfortable with, photo assist and browsing assist. So we listen to our customers and have enabled that now. So now business customers can turn on and off the various Galaxy AI features based upon what they want to use. It's a free plugin from Samsung. All they have to do is download this, install it into their MDM, and now they have the ability to manage which Galaxy AI features work and don't work based upon their level of comfort. What's more exciting is this Samsung account for business. So anyone that's ever used a Samsung device, in order to enable like Galaxy AI features or some of the Samsung account features, you have to create a Samsung account. And that was really meant for consumers and consumer tracking. Like I use my Samsung account to back up my watch data. I use my Samsung account to download stuff from the Samsung store. But that doesn't align with maybe business objectives and business needs. So what we're also launching here in the short term is what's called Samsung Account for Business. So now, if I am a business entity and I'm going to deploy 50 Galaxy S25s, I can set up and create a single Samsung account for business for all my employees, inject that account ID on all the devices. And so now I, as the business owner, can decide from a business perspective, again, which AI features work and which ones don't without asking my employee for their credentials. And maybe the employee doesn't even want to use Galaxy AI for personal use, but the business user does. So again,
Hmm.
what we're doing is separating completely business from personal needs and making sure business has have the ability to streamline and basically control with Samsung Account for Business the AI features that their employees use without having to worry about personal information, personal data.
Okay.
And lastly, Knox Vault has been a component in our devices for many years. We used to call it the secure enclave. And Knox Vault is really where we keep all this information secure: pins, passwords, biometric data. And the software and the AI controls within this Knox Vault is what keeps personal data separate from corporate data. It also keeps personal data if you don't want, say, Facebook to access your biometric data to log in. This is basically called, it's like the crossing guard. And if it doesn't have permission to access the data, we deny that application or that piece of information, that data, so it can't be cross shared between any applications or personal and business use. So Knox Vault is where we guarantee that this information is secure. And then lastly, we know customers hold on to their devices for many years. And so with the S24, so starting last year, we've actually moved our guarantees of software upgrades as well as security updates to a 7-year cycle going forward. So, most customers don't keep their devices for that long at all. But should there be customers out there that do have a need to keep a device for 7 years, we will guarantee that OS upgrades happen for 7 years after the device. So it's launching with, OS 15. So that would take it roughly to OS 23 potentially, and 7 years of security updates. So we want to ensure people get the optimized value out of their device as well as optimized performance by ensuring operating system updates and security updates will continue to occur for up to 7 years. And with that, Neil, that is sort of the highlights. There's tons more I could go into. but we would be here for hours and hours and hours, which isn't a bad thing.
These are just the highlights, Michael. Thank you so much. You know something, it occurred to me that we're getting closer to what Isaac Asimov used to call the human-like personal assistant. So, for those that don't know, Isaac Asimov was one of the most prolific science fiction writers of the 20th century. He's the one that invented the three laws of robotics, if that means anything to you. But I do remember over 70 years ago, he began in the early 50s writing the Foundation series, and I still remember characters who were wearing corneal implants, and they had a little bone induction device, and they didn't call it computer, they didn't call it AI, they just called it the personal assistant. And the assistant was permanently looking through the person's eyes and briefing the particular person on what was happening, and they could talk to the AI all the time. We're getting very close to that here. You and I have talked before offline about large language learning models, but I've noticed recently that the AIs are not talking like a machine. They're not just taking individual words. They're actually using human-like inflections when they respond to us, when they give us it. How does that manage? How are they programmed to actually change the tone and the pitch of their voice to sound so human-like?
That is a very good question. Quite a bit above my pay grade, but it's interesting you say that because even on my own device, when I ask it a question like, "Hey Google, who am I?"
I'm a large language model trained by Google. You are a user interacting with me. I don't have access to information about your personal identity unless you choose to share it with me. Therefore, I don't know who you are. I can only respond to your questions and requests based on the information you provide and my own training data.
Isn't that incredible?
So exactly to your point,
Yeah.
the language and the output, um, and we could go deep into AI and security on another session, but another advantage of the way we've implemented AI on our device, if you heard that response, Gemini keeps zero record of me. So I could ask my device 1,000 times who I am, and unless I give it implicit access to my contact information, it will always respond the same way. It has no idea who I am.
Wow. No, that's very good. That's very good to know from personal information protection, particularly in this day and age when there are so many data leaks and hacking and such like going on. I wanted to ask you more about the flagship Snapdragon. I think it's what, the Snapdragon 8 Generation 3. Tell me more about the way it's broken down into these three functions.
Uh, so there's the broader, CPU. So that's the overall chipset itself. The GPU is the graphics component of, so the graphics processing unit. And again, I think the most important piece people need to follow and track is the NPU. That's the neurologic processing unit. And again,
Right.
that's not to really compare to us, but that's really the brains within the processor that allows it to bring in all that information. When it's going out and querying a AI request or creating my now brief in the mornings, midday, and late at night. It's really that is the logic processing unit that crunches all that information to provide me the output and the information that I'm looking for. And I think that's really the key to the evolution of growth of AI. Because even if you look at a lot of those companies that provide AI in the cloud, that's what they're always talking about: increases of NPU, NPU, NPU. As they're building out these massive data centers and server farms, as they build out their AI infrastructure. It's all about how much faster, quicker, and accurate can you make that NPU unit.
Michael, I mean, I'm blown away by this advance with the S25, even over its predecessors, which I was already really impressed with. We've only got a minute or two still to go. If our partners are talking to their business customers, what are the three value props that you think they should highlight first?
Hey, great question, Neil. I think it comes down to three things. AI is not new. It's not going away. It's only going to expand into all of our lives more and more. So I think as individuals get more comfortable with the concept of using AI, the more they'll figure out how they can use it to whether enhance their personal lives or their business lives. So I think people really need to embrace what it means to them and how they can leverage a product like Galaxy devices to leverage that AI component from a mobile perspective. Secondly, I believe we have probably an industry leading, and if not the strongest, security posture out there between Knox vaults, between the ability to have everything in the secure enclave and making sure that data is not shared across applications or other sources that you as the end user don't allow to have access to is important. As well as the plugin that we provide at no cost. So if business users want to dabble with AI, but limit it to certain features, we provide at no cost the tool set so that we don't dictate to them how they can use AI. We allow them to use AI in a feature and component wise that they're the most comfortable with till they get fully developed in what they want to leverage it with. And so, and then lastly, it spans across all of the majority of all the newest Samsung devices. We launched Galaxy AI with the S24 series last year. Also added it to our Flip and Fold series. It's in also our flagship tablets. So I think the other advantage is if they're interested in Samsung devices and they're interested in AI, it's not just the S25. It goes all the way back to the S23. It's also in our tablets. It leverages connectivity into our watches and even our buds. So we provide an entire ecosystem of products that support Galaxy AI, not just one or two products.
Fantastic, Michael. I'm so impressed with what you're talking about. It was a big surprise to discover that our business customers can determine where they wish the AI to be used. What's allowed within the MDM envelope and what's allowed to be used privately or outside that envelope. But Michael, I'm looking forward to far more conversations with you. This is a fascinating topic. I know you've got bags more to share with us, so I hope you'll come back on again real soon.
Thank you, Neil. Appreciate your time today. And absolutely, anytime I can be sharing more information, I'm happy to join you.
Look forward to that. Take care, Michael.
Thank you.